you for taking the time. We now move over to Europe for our next story, where tensions escalate in Russia and Ukraine as Russia steps up its attacks. The Russian Defense Ministry claims new territorial gains in the east, reporting the capture of Novo-Heorhiivka, Pank-ivka, Suk-hetske. Meanwhile, Russia's assault on Ukraine's northern Sumy region overnight left at least 14 people injured, including 3 young children. Ukraine's emergency services are working tirelessly to rescue civilians from the rubble after Russian drone strikes hit homes, cars and buildings. In addition, the southern region of Odesa faces a massive drone strike on its energy infrastructure, causing fires and significant damage to port facilities. We're now joined by Ross Feingold. He's a political analyst and he joins us live from Taipei, Taiwan. Ross, thank you for taking the time to talk to us as always. Ross, your thoughts on the escalating tensions and the escalating hostilities in Ukraine, in the east, while we reel from a charm offensive by Zelensky and European leaders in the White House and the possibility of a peace deal growing ever closer.
As myself and other guests here on NewsX have discussed in recent days and weeks, part of this is about posturing. It's about changing facts on the ground in advance of a potential ceasefire or long-term peace agreement. So it's about getting an advantage, keeping in mind that there have to be some negotiation. Again, assuming that there is a deal to be had. Now, assuming that there is a deal to be had, there's going to be a lot of back and forth negotiation about where that ceasefire line will be. And we know that the advantage is with the Russian military. It's incremental. They don't make huge advances every day or every week, but the advantage is with the Russian military at the moment on the ground. So, of course, they want to adjust those facts on the ground to the best extent possible, heading into any negotiation about where a ceasefire line would be. The other factor here is it's also about Russia trying to wear down public opposition in Ukraine to reaching a deal. President Zelensky has been very resistant to reaching a deal that involves giving up any territory, but he does have pressure from a public that's very weary of war. There's the well-reported issue about challenges Ukraine has for filling its ranks. They're simply running out of men to report for military duty. That's no secret. So Russia's actions at this time are also about wearing down the public support in Ukraine for continuing to fight Russia. Or to describe that differently, it's about increasing public support in Ukraine to reach some kind of a ceasefire arrangement.
Ross, we got that breakthrough that the United States may provide air support to back a Ukraine peace deal in a possible security guarantee. How important would this be for Ukraine?
It would just be part of the equation. Ukraine is looking for a lot of stuff as part of any kind of ceasefire or long-term peace agreement. One of that, apparently, from all the public reporting, is that there'd have to be troops on the ground, and the United States is not going to provide that. So it would have to come from the major European military powers like France and the UK, maybe Germany, although there might be public resistance in Germany to sending troops for historical reasons, which I think the audience is very familiar with. But there would be an element of some kind of no-fly zone. Again, the Europeans would probably be expected to take the lead on that, but it's very possible that President Trump could say that the U.S. would contribute to air cover, contribute to a kind of no-fly zone, which would apply to both sides. It would apply to Russia and Ukraine as well. But again, I could see President Trump agreeing to that because he might see it as less risky to American personnel than if the U.S. had troops on the ground.
Yes, of course, Ross, and let's finish this off with a bit of diplomacy. Your thoughts on President Trump's actions in contrast between the Russian president meeting and also the last-minute scrambling, but eventually positive meeting of Zelensky and the European leaders?
To be fair to President Trump, he's willing to meet with both sides in the interest of some kind of ceasefire, which he talked about before the meeting with Putin, and now he's more focused on a potential long-term peace agreement. So it's easy to criticize President Trump for meeting with Putin, who did launch this invasion. He's wanted for war crimes. So it's easy to say, how could you meet with this kind of person? But again, to be fair to President Trump, he seems to be engaged at the moment with both sides in the interest of reaching a peace agreement.
Ross, thank you. You are staying with us to discuss further.